Okay, everybody, welcome back. You can see we are still standing on the same beach. Didn't even actually log off, just went and let my dogs outside, so we're picking up right away here. Um, we can actually see their shadow heart, like right there down the beach. Um, Pretty much plan to play till we get to what I see as kind of the next big cutoff point. So we're going to be working towards that, which means we're going to recruit some companions and do some looting, have a few combats. It'll be great. So, first things first, let's go wake up Shadowheart. Just sleeping on the beach. Now, this is where it's interesting. Any other Gith will just go grab that artifact. But I am an atypical Gith. I am not normal. I've been kind of shunned by them for being different in my mind. So,
You're alive. I'm alive. How is this possible? I remember the ship. I remember falling. Then nothing. She must have run off without us. Seems like I'm more reliable than your own people. You're more concerned for her than she is for you, clearly. We need to take care of ourselves. First things first, we need supplies, shelter, and most of all, a healer. We might have escaped, but we still have these little monsters in our heads.
it's fair.
We need each other, and we both know what's at stake. Can't think of better company. One thing, just before we go. I wanted to thank you again for freeing me. It would have been all too easy for you to run right past my pod, but you didn't. I'll remember that. Lead the way.
Shadowheart is a cleric. Um, we're gonna go and level her up. We're gonna go and just level her as she is right now. We'll get an opportunity later to respec her, and I intend to do that. My goal with her is to actually get her set up as kind of a cleric paladin mix. I have something specific in my mind I want to do with that. Um, she is pretty justified in her opinion of Gith, to be completely honest. If she is a little bit xenophobic about it, but she came by it a little honestly on that one. One thing we can do, she can wear medium armor. We picked this up from Commander Zalk. It's slightly better than her current armor. You can see her AC went up to 17. And she's a little bit stronger than us, so she can carry a bunch of stuff. One of the things too, when we do go to respec her, and yes, I can actually select multiple things and move it, I'm aware. One of the things when we go to respec her that we're gonna fix is her stat spread is absolutely terrible. Like, this is awful. Like, don't do this with your own characters. Odd numbers are actually not good. They don't really advance you past what the next down even would be. So like a 12 con and a 13 con would be the same. So you could actually have these points better spread, and we're gonna do that. So she's a charisma dump, and we're actually gonna leave her dumping charisma though. Well, we'll probably put some into it if she goes paladin though. It is gonna help her spellcasting a little, but we don't have to go too crazy. Because the main thing that we're gonna be going paladin for is for her to get 2 attacks and smite. So we don't get up to go too nuts. My main goal is she's actually gonna be kind of our main tank. Like, she's gonna be tanky. She's gonna get multiple attacks. She'll be able to deal some damage. I plan to try and bring Karlak with us. Karlak is gonna be our melee damage dealer. She's a barbarian. And then the other character I'm going to bring is a Starian, and we're going to be building him to be just an absolutely destructive ranged character. Um, He's going to be really strong ranged, is our goal. And also have 2 ranged attacks around. There's a particular build I want to try on him that I have not yet, but it's supposed to be really, really good. Honestly, I actually have not used him. Just so you know, these are waypoints. They let us fast travel around the map. This one I think is more here just to like, hey, by the way, there's a waypoint here. This is what they do, because you never really need to travel down here again. But yeah, so Astarion, I've never actually used him on either of my full playthroughs. Both of my characters were able to do all the lockpicking and everything for the group. So, kind of looking forward to actually having him in my party. He can be a bit much sometimes, but he's a fun character. And the voice actor won Game of the Year recently, which is pretty exciting. Okay, yes, I saw those intellect devours there. They're running back to prepare for us. I'm actually going to go ahead and we're going to hide as a group. We're going to try and sneak up with the goal. I'm going to actually try to shoot this. This will explode just like those ones on the ship earlier. And hopefully kill that one. It looks like it did. So now we only have to deal with 2. And they both have to dash to get into combat with me. Sorry about that. And then looks like this one actually came after Shadowheart. We will try to flourish it. Give her some advantage on attack. Looks like it is off balance now. And then I'm going to switch to her. She's going to go ahead and melee it. Really high chance to hit. Good damage. She's actually going to push it back. Yes. So she can kind of move in. She has a little bit better AC than me. And I'm going to actually try to swing back out of the way a little bit. There we go. Now the reason I did... Ooh, and then she still manages to take a good chunk of damage. Now the reason that she, or I didn't get to take an attack there is because I had used my attack on that barrel. This is kind of tough. I'm going to go and use her attack first, and she's going to try to beat this one down. Perfect. So now they're both really low. And I can actually pop a magic missile, and we can finish them off here. 1, 2, 3, just to be safe. Boom. They are dead. And then Shadowheart's going to actually use a healing potion to get most of her health back. I don't want to short rest yet, if we can avoid it. Now, I am down a spell, and I'm trying to be slightly conservative on them, but I can actually create a new spell level by sacrificing one of my sorcery points, so I'm going to actually do that. So now I got an extra spell level back. I did use up my sorcery points. Not gonna use a lot, to be honest. It takes 2 sorcery points to do that. Kind of not the best, but there's some opportunity to use them, but I'm just not going to right now. When we hit level 3, I should get another one back, so if we keep pushing a little bit after that, at that point I might use one, but as of right now, magic missile is just a little bit stronger. Like I said, it's kind of like once I hit level 2, I'll start using kind of the twin spells more, but I'd rather have that extra spell right now. Probably could have waited, but it was worthwhile. I always almost forget this guy, because I'm always looking at that thing. Did we loot both of those? We did. And we looted that one. Okay. There's one more in the fire over there, but they very rarely have anything, so I'm not that worried about it. You can see we did pick up a rapier. Unfortunately, I'm not trained with them. We picked up some poison, potion of speed, some really good things kind of mixed in there. And a frumpy hat. We want to have somebody... Oh my goodness, that's awful. Nope, worst hat in the game. Oh well. Maybe I'll make a star and wear it. Let me pick him up. So we're off. We're gonna go ahead and keep looting. We're picking up some more void bulbs. They're not terrible. They only do 1 point of damage, but they can kind of yank people around. Really fun to use near the edges of stuff, because you can pull people off the edge with them. But now we are going to meet Astarion.
Hurry! I've got one of those brain things caught. There, in the grass. You can kill it, can't you? Like you killed the others? I was hoping for a kind soul. Well, not to worry.
I have a couple options here. I'm going to try and roll away from him. I do get guidance from Shadowheart. Might be the most used spell in the game. The old guidance. Really valuable. Great reason to keep Shadowheart in your party.
I saw you on the ship, strutting about whilst I was trapped in that pod. What did you and those tentacled freaks do to me? I'm not an idiot. I saw. Ah!
Your mind twists.
Not true.
You're looking out
Just kind of
at
an idiot.
unfamiliar eyes, prowling dark, busy streets. You try to hold the memory, but it fades to the worm. The light, the fear.
What was that? What's going on?
So that's actually something that the parasites in us, the little tadpoles, will do, is they'll actually connect us.
The worm. Of course. That explains things somewhat. And to think, I was ready to decorate the ground with your innards. Apologies. A kindred spirit. My name's Astarion. I was in Baldur's Gate when those beasts snatched me. The strong and silent type. All right. Please tell me you at least know something about these worms. Turn us into... Of course it'll turn me into a monster. What else did I expect? Although, it hasn't happened yet. If we can find an expert, someone that can control these things, there might still be time. You know, I was ready to go this alone, but maybe sticking with the herd isn't such a bad idea. And you seem like a useful person to know. All right. I accept. Lead on.
Okay, we have now recruited Astarion. Pardon me. So Astarion is a rogue. We're actually going to be doing a ranger rogue build on him, but the first 3 levels are going to be rogue. There's a lot more to Astarion in his background that we'll kind of uncover as we go. But he is an elf, at least partway. Alright, so for his build, now, there's a lot of ways to build rogues. I actually don't love dual wielding on them all the time. So we're going to actually go with a kind of single target build. But he's also going to be more ranged focused once we get to that point. However, we're going to give him his little rapier right now. And we're actually going to stay on him. One of my little quirks, I always try to kill this boar over here. It's a little bit of XP, but also just to me, like, I don't think Astarion would have just left it. I think he would have been like, alright, well, it didn't work as a trap, but I'm still going to kill it. So there we go. He sneaks up, he can kill it. Look, it's not very much. It's 3 XP. Like, you aren't making and breaking your game on it. It does actually give us some camp supplies too, though. So, worthwhile. And then we're going to hop down here. This is something I actually found on, like, my first playthrough during early access. That there's this odd colored rock down here, and I noticed it when I was up top. And came running down here, and... Oh, we found it. Awesome. You know, I actually almost forgot to do that, but I'm going to put wisdom. Get that perception going.
Your faith will guide me.
It does take a certain strength to move it, so that's why Shadowheart, who has 13, has to come over. You can see when she has to struggle a little bit to get it to move, but it'll pop up, and there's a little chest underneath it, right there. That I'm going to switch to me. I'm going to loot it, and it's got some good stuff. It's got potions of speed, some gold, ruby that sells for like 90 gold, lots of stuff. Well, Harper's notebook if we wanted to read it. It's basically like a Harper stash. Harpers are a kind of spy organization, but it's like a semi-militant spy organization. Throughout the Sword Coast on Baldur's Gate. They were actually kind of a big part of the recent D&D movie. We hear about Harpers, and they've kind of come up in Baldur's Gate before too. One of the companions from the original Baldur's Gate 1 and 2, who is a character in this game, Jahira, she's a Harper. Alright, so we're going to lockpick this locked thing. You can see we have 5, so we have plenty. We don't really need the guidance. We're just going to do it. Got a 22. Successful. So we can open it. And then we did pick up a little leather helmet, which does give us a little bonus to dexterity saving throws, so we're going to actually put that on a star in. But it looks goofy, so we're going to hide it. Doesn't fit his aesthetic, we'll just say.
One day I'll catch a break.
And then we're going to be heading back. So if there was a slight pause there, thank you for being patient with me. I was bringing my dogs in. We are heading back around. We're going to go back into the Nautiloid. And we're actually heading towards recruiting another companion eventually. But first, there's a mind flayer. What do? We murder it.
Best be careful.
Oh, and there's the little doggies arguing or something.
Death is too kind of fate.
He was really low, so of course he went down really easy. Fun little story here. We're about to run into Gale, but in early access, I always went up these stairs and jumped over this little fire here. So I never found Gale until right near the end of early access, when I literally had to ask somebody who's a friend of mine and say, where do y'all find Gale? I just don't understand. They're like, oh, well, he's just standing right over here. And I felt like just the dumbest human being. Because I would always go up and around and like this way, so I just literally never walked this little area, never picked up this little circle. Now in this case, he's now in
You approach the sigil on the
sigil.
stone. Magic glitters and swirls from it erratically, as if malfunctioning. It looks slightly dangerous.
So of course I'm going to touch it. Touch the danger!
A hand? Anyone?
It's far too dangerous to leave him to his fate. No, we're going to try and rescue Gale. Although Gale's kind of annoying at times. Ooh, and we barely do it.
Whatever you're doing is working wonders. Now a quick little pull should do the trick. Oh. Hello. I'm Gale of Waterdeep. Apologies. I'm usually better at this. At magic. Say, but I know you, don't I? In a manner of speaking. You were on the Nautiloid as well. I don't know what transpired exactly, but the ship broke into pieces and I suddenly found myself in freefall. As I was plummeting to certain death, I spied a glimmer, quite near where I estimated my body to impact with less than savory propulsion. Recognizing this glimmer to be magical in nature, I reached out to it with a weaving of words and found myself on the other side, as it were. How about you? How did you survive the fall?
I definitely feel like Gale would run a podcast. If he lived in our world, he definitely likes the sound of his own voice. I'm gonna lie to him because it's funnier.
That vast burning wreckage behind you somewhat contradicts your story, but here you stand, so who am I to argue? Still, swashbuckling heroics aside, I have the unfortunate suspicion your survival is still very much in jeopardy. Back on the ship, you too were on the receiving end of a rather unwelcome insertion in the ocular region, were you not? As a Githyanki, it's no news to you that this parasite will soon turn us into mind flayers. An outcome I'd rather like to avoid. You don't happen to be a cleric by any chance, do you? A doctor? Surgeon? Uncannily adroit with a knitting needle?
You seem to know enough about our condition to realize it's beyond most clerics' skills.
Most, no doubt, but I find myself hoping to be in the presence of the few. You don't happen to be one of them. As we've established, few enough can. It's not exactly a common affliction. We're most certainly going to need a healer, and soon, too. How about we lend each other a helping hand once more and look for a healer together? Most excellent. Parasite shared is a parasite halved, or something to that effect. Oh, but before you think you're about to embark on a journey with most ill-mannered a man, thank you for pulling me out of that stone. It was an act of foresighted kindness, I assure you. For I have the feeling ample opportunities will present themselves for me to return the favor.
And I'm sure my character's regretting it already. So no, Gale's a wizard, and I'm just gonna go the standard kind of evocation build on him. We're not gonna be bringing him a lot because I'm a sorcerer. There's a ton of overlap there, and you don't really have to bring him on many of the quests. I think there's one or two he has to come on for his own like personal quest. But we're gonna give him magic missile, and I think we're gonna give him shield. Yeah. I think shield's worthwhile to go. Normally I would go Longstrider if I was going to be bringing him a lot. Longstrider is just one of my favorite spells in the game. It gives extra movement. Movement's huge in combat, as you'll see as we go. But in this case, we're not going to be bringing him a lot. In fact, we're almost going to be immediately replacing him in the group. So we're just going to load him up. We'll give him shield, so when I do bring him, if he's in combat, it helps keep him alive. You can see I switched out Grease and Sleep to pick up the two new spells, Magic Missile and Shield. Now he can learn spells from scrolls, but we're not actually going to do that much, because again, I'm not bringing him, and I plan on trying to use scrolls more offensively. The good with that means we don't have to hear from Gale as much then. He is a talker. So now this path will actually lead up towards the Druid Grove eventually. We're going to go that way later. First, we're going to go recruit Lae'zel, who is trapped. Now these guys might react badly.
Zoru was right. Yellow as a toad, twice as ugly.
The thing's dangerous. Leave it for the goblins to kill.
Your skull pounds in response to the prisoner's white-hot stare. Her lips don't move, yet you hear her voice.
Get rid of them. Holy hells! Another one.
Lay tie, Nymetha.
See, I could try to scare them off, but I have a little bit of Githyanki pride. If they want to come after me just for being a Githyanki, I will attack them. Shadowheart's not the biggest fan of that. Astarion's a little bloodthirsty. He doesn't mind. So, one of the things we're going to try to do, we're going to start with Astarion. We're going to try and hide. It was successful. So then we can actually sneak attack here. That's harder to get to her, and it's more possible that we'll lose our hiding, so we're actually just going to sneak attack Damus. You can see that does a pretty significant amount of damage. And then we're going to switch back to the rapier. You should always try to switch back to melee weapons when you can. Because if people try to move out of your range, you can get opportunity attacks that way. Gale, since we're not going to carry him, is going to go just crazy with his spells here. And he can actually cast without endangering nearby, so we're going to actually do a little Thunder Wave action. Knocks her further back, does a pretty good chunk of damage to our boy Damus here.
Nothing important is ever easy.
Who I am just going to Firebolt unsuccessfully. And I'm going to actually dip it back here. I don't want to get killed. So now we have her, she's shooting at Gale, perfectly fine. That less good. Alright, now we have Shadowheart in the mix. Shadowheart's gonna come in and try to hit Damus. Also miss, and nope. Not great. So now we're back around to the top of the order. So
Swords meet sorcery.
we're gonna actually start. We're gonna do a magic missile. We're gonna kill Damus. And then bring 2 of them onto Night Vessel. Good job, Gale. And then Gale's gonna kind of step back. He's taking a hit. He doesn't want to die.
Go from here.
I can step up. You can see I'm being a little conservative with my spells. I know I have a few other combats coming up before I want to rest. I did a little damage there. And then Astarion is going to move up, and he's actually going to start with a flourish. So if he can get her off balance, but he missed, alas. So instead, he's just going to do this. I know I said I'm building him ranged, and that's the end goal, but it's going to be a minute before we get there. So Shadowheart's actually just going to range attack. There we go. Okay. Kill him off. So now, at this point, I'm going to remove Gale from my party.
First in magic, are you? Oh, I do apologize. I meant to ask, are you studied in magic? Namely, are you a wizard? Which you are not. If you meet any elder wizards, let me know. There is a matter I'd like to seek advice on from a master.
Kind of a rude
How can I help?
answer there.
I question the wisdom of that decision, but so be it. I'll be in the camp then, idling away the hours.
Yep, you will. The reason we're sending him to camp is we're going to take Lae'zel with us. She's just more useful. So let's knock her out of her cage so we can recruit her.
The tadpole hasn't yet scrambled all your senses. Auspicious. But the longer we wait, the more it consumes. You will join me. We must find a creche. Our people possess the cure for this infection.
Careful. She obviously sees your kindness as weakness. Don't let her take advantage.
You have made an ally from Creche Kalir. Few know such fortune. Call me Lae'zel.
I'll trust your judgment, but I won't trust her. Not until I've gotten the measure of her.
You've a sharp tongue, elf. Would that your mind proved its equal.
Half-elf. I suppose the finer details are lost on a creature like you.
Come. The Horned Ones mentioned a camp. One there, this Zoru, has seen Githyanki. A creche must be near. We will ask this Zoru where he has seen my kin.
Alright, now we have Lae'zel who can level up. And then after this, we're going to go ahead and do a short rest. I kind of have planned out in my head where in the early game I like to do my short rest if I can. Anything else we can pick? Oh, there's a short bow there too. Let's pick that up. And a Dragon Age mushroom. What I'm doing right now is using Alt to see where things are. So, fun fact, if you're newer to the game, you can use Alt to see where things are. I've picked up a number of things. We're gonna move this around. There's a couple things we're just gonna housekeeping wise. Shadow, she's very strong, strong girl. So she can carry a lot of our weapons and stuff that we pick up that we're gonna sell later. I like to keep my weight down if I can, because I end up doing all the looting usually. And then we're gonna give her this Githyanki Greatsword, which is very strong. She loves using great weapons, so until we get to the point we're going to be bringing Karlak in the party, she's going to be carrying that and using it. And it hits very hard. You can see her damage went up pretty significantly, 5 to 15. The other thing we're going to do, which might seem weird, but since the end goal of Shadowheart is to make her kind of our tank, we're going to actually put the better Githyanki armor on her, kind of lowering Lae'zel's AC a little bit, but raising Shadowheart's. Like I said, our main goal, she will be getting into melee a lot more and be our tanky tank. So there we go. Also, it doesn't help. Shadowheart looks good in that armor. Make her hair spin. Let's go. So, there we go. We're going to do our short rest. And you see I didn't have to use one of my spells. There's 3 main conversations, possibly 4, that I'd still like to get into before we rest. Hopefully we will level before the 4th one, so we'll have our 2nd level spells. So that's why I wanted to try and save my spells a little bit. Now we're going to sneak. You can see this guy is right here. So we are just going to attack these guys, but we're going to do it in a creative way. Which step 1 of, we're going to split the party up. Astarion is going to sneak over here. Sneaky, sneaky. Now I'm really going to wait for that girl who's just pathing right there. I want her to path back up to the top before I do what I'm going to do. But if you see this block hanging here, this is a big part of the game. There are environmental features you can use offensively. Or defensively. In this case, this block will fall, and, well, I'll just let you see the results when it does. It's a great way to start this combat, though. So we're going to aim, we're going to shoot right here, and down it goes. And you can see, one of the bodies even falls in the hole, the other guy's dead. So now we only have to fight 2 guys. And because it was Astarion, he's fast. He goes early. Which means we get to go first, which gives us a chance to have all of our little hiding people come sneak into this combat. Because he's still looking that way at this point. So she can come over. Big hit. Just absolutely demolish that guy. And then I can sneak over. Get in range, and I'm gonna actually just magic missile our girl here. Which didn't quite kill her, unfortunately. You can see she still has 6 hit points. So that's when Shadowheart's gonna come in. And hopefully this hits, but we're gonna guiding bolt her. 96% chance to hit. And it hits, and she is dead. So, essentially, in a sneak attack round on this combat, we just killed them all. So, it does help that I know what I'm getting into there, and I've done this once or twice. I was actually probably one of the most successful, though. Something usually goes wrong, but that one was very, very efficient. And we can just clean it up, and we're good to go. One of the things that might have popped up, I don't know if people saw it, but we did actually get experience for finding this area. That does happen. Sometimes as you're exploring, if you find kind of major areas, you'll get a little bit of experience. So, real quick, we're going to move a few things around. Again, we're going to take kind of the heavier armors out of my bag, the heavier weapons. We're going to go give those to Lae'zel to carry. We put that robe over there. We put the torch. We'll just put that in Shadow Hearts instead. And then we're also going to take these Thieves' Tools and Trap Disarms. Those are going to go to Astarion. He is our rogue. That is his job. Keeping bags clean is something that I kind of do off and on through the whole run. And you can see I picked up a couple of scrolls. Scroll Sleep, which she would have used against us. Really handy. Sleep's not a super strong spell just because of the relatively limited hit point pool, in my opinion. But in the early game, it's not bad to be able to use and just knock somebody out. Sometimes it's a little bit better than damage. Not always. So, got a couple options here. I could knock on the door and try to lie to the guy. I'm actually just going to go I think is the easiest one, and we're going to lockpick the door. It makes no noise. You can see we already meet the bonus. No need for guidance. Now if we roll a 1, we still fail. But then we can just try again with another lockpick. And we come in. This guy is surprised. He's like, what is going on? So I'm just going to come up, shock and grasp him maybe. Except I missed. So disappointed in myself. But I can try to knock him off balance for Astarion. And I did, so now Astarion can come in and sneak attack him. 88% chance. See how much damage that did.
Blood comes easy these days.
What should I do?
And Shadowheart's gonna come in and just try to smack him. He died. All in all, very successful. So now
Softer than a whisper.
we start sneaking again. But we're gonna sneaky over here.
On my way.
Sneaky. So the reason I'm sneaking is I know that behind this door there's a group of enemies. And this is actually not the least challenging fight you'll do. So the first thing I'm gonna do is gonna cast out the Mage Hand. As a group, we're gonna keep sneaking up. The Mage Hand is gonna actually open the door for us.
What to do?
And then I am going to come up,
Think you can take me on?
explode that barrel. It's absolutely devastating for the enemy because you can see, like, even though standing up, these two are both dead. They took max damage. The game is just kind of like, what? It happened so fast. Little chunk up of him. Overall, really strong start. And I can kind of dip to the side and get out of the way, and these guys can all sneak in.
Protects me.
So for step 1, we're actually going to move Lae'zel in. And because of the way that sneak line works, we can actually bring Lae'zel up over here. They all came in with her, and that's fine. Lae'zel gets an attack. And then Shadowheart is actually going to... No, actually, hold on.
If this isn't
We're going to have Astarion throw a bunch of damage. He's actually going to come over and see if he can flourish her. And boom, there you go. She goes down. Good job, Astarion. He's going to kind of dip off to the side. And lastly, there's Shadowheart. We're going to actually try to kill the caster. Boom. Casters are bad. Now, the downside of Shadowheart goes after him. I can't put the melee weapon on. That's fine.
No time to waste.
I'm actually going to go ahead and action surge. So we can come over. Ooh, and we missed. Not great. And we missed that. That is what it is.
miss this.
Everybody lets him go. He's gonna rage. He is a barbarian. It's funny, she's actually still moving though. She's dead. But he missed. How embarrassing for him. And then we're gonna equip that. Now I can come in.
Light on my feet.
I missed. Now he's in combat, so I think I can sneak attack him. Didn't take very much. That's a little embarrassing.
Victory awaits.
So here we go. There's the big hit. And And he threw, which is a wild decision, really.
Your maker.
Critical hit, great job. Okay, so we're gonna go in short rest again. I always feel like this is kind of a good place to work that short rest in.
Over than through.
I mean, arguably we did like 3 combats. This is so weird that they're standing up. It happens sometimes when you start a combat like that suddenly. Sometimes the game doesn't always pick it up. Ooh, a burning hand scroll though. And here's our guy who fell through the ground to the ground. So we get to loot him too. You'd think that would have been a bit of a warning, but that door was closed, so they didn't know about it either. And then we're gonna come back. First time through, you'll find yourself, you'll just loot everything. I've played it through a few times. There's certain things I try to grab. I'm not worried about looting everything. I'm gonna grab things that sell for a little bit, or that are supplies. Once we're a little further in the game, the camp supply situation, it's gonna become silly how much we have, but on tactician runs or honor mode, it takes twice as much, so staying in the habit of picking up food is probably a good thing. So I'm going to organize by type. That's going to group like weapons together, things like that. Same thing, we're going to take some of this weight off me. You can see I'm actually fairly close to my carrying capacity. So we're going to try and move some of that to others. That cleared a bunch off. Still have a lot. Part of it's I'm carrying a lot of food. So you can come over here. This is what's gonna be crazy. I love actually doing this. I don't know why. It's just something that like my brain likes. But I like to have like a good little chunk of food brought up and go like, God, I'm carrying 41 pounds. What happens if I send all this back to camp? So you can send your food to camp and still use it when you rest. So it's something I like to do. And you can see I dropped almost 20 pounds of what I was carrying just by getting rid of food. The other thing we're going to do, these poisons that we've picked up, we're going to give to Astarion. As well as all of our trap finding kits and things like that. And probably a lot of these arrows. He's going to make the most use out of things like that. If he can't sneak attack, he can always throw a special arrow. And we might put a few of the special arrows into other people's inventories, but he's going to get a bulk of them. And you can see, we're very close to leveling. We only need 56 XP to level up. It's pretty awesome. So we'll hit level 3 kind of most likely in our next big fight. Now, we're going to head this way. I could go through and loot all these. There might be a scroll. I don't think there is though, so I'm not going to worry about it. Right now, like I said, I kind of try to hit this early part of the game pretty fast. Touching on a lot of the big things. Finding that lever is huge, so kind of, you can tell that these guys were trying to all get into. I love the death sounds as we come back in. Trying to get in here, we can see they had a thieves' tools. They were trying to pick that door, but it's not pickable. You had to find that lever. And they just didn't explore enough to find it. Or their perceptions are terrible. So now we can go in. We're going to be in the crypt. We all got just a little bit of experience for finding the crypt. We're going to open up these chests. Open up these doors. And here we are. So this room's kind of funny. This room did exist in early access. And we actually didn't find it. So there's a trap on the sarcophagus. And when you open it, puts a bunch of fumes and oil and stuff out from these. And there's little dragon heads over here that shoot fire through the room. And it just absolutely murders everyone. So you would sit here and you would pick the locks or try to cover up all these vents and things like that, and try to turn it off. And then, at least that's how I always approached it. And then one day,
This place is trapped.
I saw this button, and I've found the button before, and I'd clicked it, and it doesn't do anything. Well, the button only does something after you set the trap off, and it literally turns off the trap. And I felt like just the dumbest human being alive again because I'd wasted so much time previously doing it. We're going to exit turn-based. We don't even need it. We are perfectly fine. See? All those little fun things that make you feel stupid as a gamer. We go here. There is a chest over in this corner that I swear wasn't always there, but definitely is now. There we go. And we picked up our first soul coin, if you saw that. Little coin that looks like that. Soul coins can power infernal engines, which is definitely going to come up later. So now we're on to the next room in the crypt. So this door was locked. That's why we went in there first. Oh, and we did pick up a very nice spear that we are going to give to Miss Shadowheart. I don't know why aesthetically I love when Shadowheart's wielding spears. I think it kind of really fits their initial character design. If you look, she a lot of times has a spear. And I don't know. I just like it. Now, we're not going to light the braziers and stuff in this room. We want to give Astarion a chance to be sneaky in a minute. But this is kind of the last little part of the crypt before we're going to leave. There's a couple things we're going to do. First thing is, we're going around, we're taking all the weapons out of these guys' hands. Because if you've done this before, they're eventually going to come to life and try to kill us. So it's a lot harder to kill us when they don't have weapons. Again, I'm sorry if it feels like I am going fast. I've done this several times. I kind of already know what I like to do.
What's inside?
I do want to make sure everyone gets to see the FMVs, gets to enjoy the game, and our decision making. Wish I could go back and record my first playthrough, I really do. But
Looks like someone wanted to bury their secrets.
although, fun fact, I actually didn't finish my first playthrough. I was very, very low level going into Baldur's Gate and was just way out of my depth. So I actually started a second one once I'd had a little bit more experience. I ended up having skipped a huge chunk of content before I got there. So that's the other reason I like to do this, because I want to make sure people know what content to grab. So here we are with this Book of the Dead Gods. I'm going to go for it. Without rerolls, this might be
book
rough.
is far lighter than it should be with such
But
a
we're gonna try.
massive lock.
So I can try to Charisma open, I can try to Strength, which is not great, or I can Arcana, which is not my strongest thing. So we're going to try Charisma. Plus this check, I believe, is a little bit lower. I think it's 15 if I do an Arcana check. So I have a pretty decent chance. Oh, and I critically succeeded. So I've now opened the book. This is the even trickier part here.
As the lock opens, weak magic pulses from the book. Such a waste, binding it to dry, dead parchment. What was once script is now an obliterated scrawl. You have a sense these are names, a list. But of what?
So this is where we're going to examine it. This is not a roll I'm going to be great at, but we're going to try. Oh, and we succeeded. Yay us.
Gods. These are the names of gods, once lost but now restored after the Second Sundering. Entire pantheons have dwindled and been reborn, silently recorded by this book.
So there was a failed check there. Basically what that check does is it does, I note that there's 3 names kind of set aside, but they're blurred out. I can't tell what they are. They're the dead 3. The Miracle, Ball, and Bane. Alright, but we did get a scroll of Ray of Enfeeblement. We did get that. We're going to pick up that book and sell it too. It's worth a couple shekels. We're going to go and move a bunch of stuff out of my inventory to someone else. Shadar, you got some weight you can carry right now. All about I don't carry the heavy stuff. We'd also picked up this arrow we can give to him. We picked up this bomb that we're actually going to hold on to for later. Do a plan with it at some point. Potentially. Then we're going to organize by type again, and you can see we've got all of our fun stuff. We've actually got 2 of the soul coins already. Those will come up again. And one of the things you might have seen pop up, and you actually can see it in our experience, because we both only need 11, they need 31, is we got these inspiration points. Basically, throughout the game, certain events will inspire certain characters based on their backgrounds. In our case, because I am a... What is my background? What did I select? I'm a sage, and she's an acolyte. Where's hers? You can't see it, but she's an acolyte. Because of our backgrounds, we got that triggered inspiration.
What to do? Don't waste a step.
Alright, so now we are positioning for this part. I know these come to life. The first time I found it, I nearly messed myself. Because I was half health, barely held together after fighting through the fight above, hadn't short rested, click a button, and all of a sudden, like, a bunch of undead came to life. Very shocking, for sure. But we succeeded. So he's going to hide there with the hope that he can sneak attack that one. Shadhart's going to be who actually hits the button. I'm going to position myself kind of up here where I have kind of targeting on 2. Oh, she just found the button. And Lae'zel's going to come down here. She's going to deal with the Entombed Warrior who has kind of the most health. So, pressing the button. Here we go. Combat's going to begin. Like I said, very shocking, very surprising the first time this happened. Was not even remotely prepared. Okay, so he saw me. I don't get to sneak attack him. See, how disappointing. Let's examine him real quick. They are immune to poisons, so unfortunately, my poisons aren't going to work. They are bludgeoning vulnerable. Unfortunately, I don't have bludgeoning. I'm just going to still manage to kill him, though. Good job. And then he's going to come over and kind of hide, which hopefully is going to make him able to be a lot more sneaky the next time. So that was his turn. We're going to come down here to our girl. She's going to go after this guy. Good, strong first hit. Now he is actually fairly tanky. Like you can see, she only has a 55% chance to hit. But... and did miss on that. But managed to hit her 2 big hits, which is awesome. So now it's on me. And this is where I'm going to... actually, you know what? We're going to bring Shadowheart in first. She's going to jump up here.
On I go then.
And she's going to go ahead and just guiding bolt this guy. There's another dead one. Which is awesome. So I am actually going to magic missile and pop 1 on this guy and 2 on this guy up top. I did kill the big guy, and you can see I actually leveled up from that kill. And we did decent damage to this guy up top. Alright, now it's their turn. There's 2 of them up. Gonna come over, silence. Probably not the most useful thing. And silence me. So, I feel like kind of a waste, personally. Now he's hidden, so he can sneak attack now, so he will. You see, absolutely wrecked that guy.
Time to strike.
And then I'm actually just gonna see if I can somehow get up here. It doesn't look like I'll be able to. Maybe I can finagle it by that. Nope. So I'm gonna actually stay back just a little bit so I can range attack. I missed.
I can't even catch my breath.
So my silence is gone because I killed him. So I'm just gonna try and fireball. Oh my gosh.
Swift as
We are kind of just like not doing great here. He's gonna stay hidden. He's actually kind of behind that pole. It's hard to see.
Got to press on.
Shadow's just gonna double move around. Eventually we're gonna kill this guy, but sadly he gets to live another turn. Because we all just kind of Benny Hilled it. He didn't really capitalize though. So Starion, can you come in and make it happen? Doesn't have that, so he doesn't get the sneak attack, but still got the kill.
Rising from the dead just to protect some dusty old bullies.
Now, normally we would level right away, but
Let us fill our packs and depart.
also yes, I know you can actually loot some of those bodies again.
Make use of them.
I just don't. I feel like I looted them once.
Lots
That's
of
fine.
effort to hide one sarcophagus.
So it's fun. I did survive my first fight them, even though I started at half health and beaten down. And then I opened this and like immediately went into another cutscene with more green flame and another skeleton coming out. And was just like, oh my god, this game hates me. But much different person rising.
So he has spoken, and so thou standest before me. Right, as always. What a curious way to awaken. Now, I have a question for thee. What is the worth of a single mortal's life? Because that would be senseless. Wilt thou answer my question? So, I ask again, what is the worth of a single mortal life? What an imbalance. Very well. I am satisfied.
Trying to be a good
We
Githyanki.
have met, and I know thy face. We will see each other again at the proper time and place. Farewell.
Even though my people are not fond of me. And you can see we did get experience for opening that. So that was Withers. He will actually make his way. Oh, that's cool. He'll make his way to my camp. Which will ultimately, I'm not going to use that right now. That little potion, but that's actually a really nice potion, that elixir, because that's going to give me an extra level 1 spell slot. So that's a good one to use probably after our first rest, so we can make that next part of that day go longer. We also got some dye. Dyes are kind of neat. In fact, I'll go and use one just to kind of show what they do. You can dye your clothing. I'm going to dye my robe. Get away from that green. Combine it. Red. Now it matches my hair. See? They don't always affect in interesting ways the armor, but this one's pretty basic, so. We also got a very nice amulet that we're going to go and equip. So Withers, a lot of theories bounce around about Withers. It's pretty heavily implied that he's actually God. He's actually Jurgle. we're going to talk about it while we level up. So he actually is here helping guide us through what is supposed to happen now. But he also gives us some really fun abilities. We can respec with him. He can res. He'll be back in our camp and tell us about some of this later. Alright, so I'm now level 2. So level 2 does not have a lot of great spells from that twin spell. That's why we have that chromatic orb. But it does have Scorching Ray, which is a very strong attack spell. And it does have Shatter, which is a nice little AoE. I only get to pick one. I'm going to pick Shatter first. I'm going to get that little AoE so I can use it. And then I can use Scorching Ray next level. For my passives, this is where I can get Quicken Spell. Now, Quicken Spell uses a lot of sorcery points. It uses 3. But it lets you get essentially a second complete spell cast in a round. Because it lets you do one as a bonus action. Very, very strong. Definitely going to use it. And then I got Githyanki Psionic Jump. And I do have the option to replace the spell. I'm not going to yet. But there will come a day probably when Chromatic Orb does get replaced. But just not yet. Although, we'll see. So, accepting that. Shadowheart, again, we're going to level up, except actually once we first rest, we're going to be respecking her. I will still go ahead and do this. And then we have Astarion, who we're going to actually go an assassin build on. That's a very nasty build. Again, this is all about kind of that first round damage, some extra critical hits. Astarion will actually be opening a lot of our combats, because when combat starts, he gets to reset all of his actions. And then we're going to keep Lae'zel as a Battle Master, so that when we do bring Lae'zel, Battle Master is very, very strong. And we're going to give her... We're definitely going to give her a Trip. It's really strong on Riposte. And I think we're going to go Disarming. It's a handy one to have. So there we go. Alright, so now you can see, built up. Got that additional spell that I'm going to put over there. She also got the Githyanki Jump. Now, we could stop here, but I'm actually going to push just a little bit further. I want to go ahead and get to the Grove, and then we're going to rest, and that'll give, that'll let Shadowheart respec, that'll get us there, but we did get a few more spells. You can see I've got 2 Shadowhearts, 2 more, so we both have enough spells that this portion of the Grove will be pretty easy. We did use our Action Surge on Lae'zel, which in hindsight I probably shouldn't have, but I think we'll be fine. It just means she won't be able to take 2 attacks the first round. You can see we came up the ladder. We're kind of on the side here. I did fail a check, but others made it. Now, even if you all fail, you can still try to dig in the area and find the chests. But there are hidden chests like this all around that usually have little goodies in them. That one had an acid vial and some gold. And I happen to know that there's another one right over here. So if you're ever running around and you start failing perceptions, maybe give a dig in the area. See what you can find. See, I got a Scroll of Enlarge and a Shocking Grasp. Shocking Grasp, less useful. I'll probably sell it. Or maybe have Gale memorize Shocking Grasp. But Enlarge can actually be pretty strong. How long does it last? It's concentration. Interesting. We might use that before this Grove battle. Actually, no, I'll probably save it. On a day I can use it for like a longer period. I'm not going to have a ton of concentration spells probably. I'm going to be more pew pew. So things like that are actually really useful. One last little thing over here that somebody pointed out to me many runs in, or attempted runs in, is there is actually a chest over here, and you actually get a little bit of experience for finding this one. So feel free to go grab this XP. A little 30 XP bump. Let's go. And we got a elixir of fire resistance. So if you happen to know you're going to be going into a big fire area for a while, you can pop that, take less damage. We climb back up, jump back up here. I do recommend using a higher strength character to go get it, because that jump up is pretty hard.
Wonder if the gods are watching.
Gotta have a decent strength for that one. Okay. Now we're gonna maneuver back up here to where the Druid Grove entrance is. Should I feel bad that we killed those tieflings? I don't know. They were kind of threatening me, so. Despite not being like the most Githyanki, I'm still Githyanki.
I hear shouting up ahead.
We should check it out, but be careful.
Okay, I just wanted to pick up that waypoint that's right there. And then we're going to scoot back. We're actually going to attack this from right up here. But as we approach, I'm actually going to, on Lae'zel, use my Githyanki jump. It's going to let Lae'zel engage a little bit faster, because she's going to be able to clear a lot more distance. And we're going to get a system autosave. And
Open the bloody gates! Nobody gets in! Zevlor's orders!
That pack of goblins will be on us any second!
What's going on?
Goblins are on our tail! Open the gates, Zevlor, now! You let goblins here? Where is the druid? Please! There's no time!
By the nine hells! Open the gates!
oh, cannon.
Shit! Form a line!
Damnable roach! Provoke the blade! And suffer its sting.
Lot to unpack that just happened there. So we just met, well, we met Kanan very briefly. Kanan got killed. He's a tiefling. Zevlor, who is right there. He's a Hellrider Exile, which basically is a type of paladin. Poor Kanan, you can see him. He's the leader of the tieflings. This is a gate that leads into the grove. This little party is Aridin and I think Barth and Ramir. They are adventurers. They were basically working a job, and most of their group got slaughtered, and they were on the run back trying to get in, but they keep the gate closed to keep things like, I don't know, goblins out. And then we saw Will come leaping in very Will style. Wish he would be that effective all the time. So now we're going to pick up. We're in combat. First thing I'm going to do is try to take these two little archers out, because I got first action. I think that'll be alright. Level 1. I killed one. Probably should have done level 2. I damaged the other. And I can go ahead and work up. I don't have another bonus action, so I'm going to go and come up. Flourish, critical hit. Now you can see he's not actually dead, but he is out of the fight. He's knocked out. We'll kill him later. So that is my round. That was pretty effective. We've basically taken 2 combatants out. Zevlor's going to come over. He's going to give us Rallied, which means everybody gets 8 bonus hit points. And Ooh, absolutely destroy that guy from up there. Great job. He's not always that effective. Little hamstring from Ramira on this Booyog. Booyogs are like the cleric casters of goblins. So we're going to try and kill that Booyog before he can mess things up too much for us.
On the move.
Speaking of, Shadowheart's going to come out. Now Shadowheart is going to eventually be a melee build, but we aren't there yet. So she is going to Guiding Bolt this Booyog, hopefully kill it, and does, which is good. He was going to be very annoying, so now we don't have to deal with him. Will is going to come and be probably pretty ineffective, but maybe. Yep, good job, Will. You did a lot. Now, I can sneak attack, because he hasn't gone yet. That's something that assassins can do. Or I could sneak attack the warg, but he's too far away. So, this guy it is. That brawler just absolutely wrecked. I'm actually going to hide. And then try to scooch a little bit from where it was originally. My goal is that I can hopefully pull another sneak attack next round. We're doing good though. We've cleared out a lot of the smaller pain in the butt ones. And Barth and Aridin are over there doing things. Great job. So now she gets to come like yellow herself into this fight. She's gonna take a little damage wherever she lands. She shouldn't go prone. So the question is, who do I want to go after? I think I'm gonna try and actually take out this guy. This is actually the leader. So I'm gonna come land right here. We're gonna trip attack. Not ranged. Trip melee. And I miss. Oh, Lae'zel. Let me down. But overall, pretty effective anyway. So now, I'm gonna go and use my twin spells. I'm gonna twin a chromatic orb. Now I have to do a level 1. Which is a little bit of a bummer, but not too bad. We're gonna twin a couple of the thunder ones. On this warg. And the bugbear. Good chunk of damage to the warg. Not as much to the bugbear. But not too bad. He also has a gaping wound. And he's got a lot going on. And I'm actually going to come down. This is going to be dumb, but I'm going to loot this guy. And see if I can shove him off and have it do the damage to kill him. Boom! There we go. Now he's dead. We don't have to mess with him later. Oh, and there we go. Zevlor took the warg out. That's great. Ramira hurting the bugbear. Zakurg doesn't quite realize. Oh, and there's her riposte, but she missed that too. So now we're back around to Shadowheart, and we're gonna actually just throw down a level 2 guiding bolt. We really want to. Hopefully, she can hit this guy. We'll see. Ah, he's tough to hit. Will's gonna come up and heal people because you know that's what they want. Looks like we can try to sneak attack this guy. And we're gonna actually go ahead and poison our weapon to hopefully make it a little more damage if it does hit. Ooh, that's good. He did save against the poison, but we did chunk him a little bit. Aridin's gonna come in and miss his first swing and then hit his second. Ah, Barth, let me down, buddy. Alright, here we go. Maybe this one will hit. There we go. And that is a dead boss. And then I get to go, so I'm just gonna throw a level 2, like, there's no way. Murders, the murders, the murders.
Inside! All of you! More may follow! Open the gate!
Absolutely decimated him. You can see no one died on our side, which is inspiring to Lae'zel.
I wonder what they wanted here. Lae'zel has a dangerous look in her eyes. Let's just hope she reserves those impulses for any common foes.
Didn't actually mean to click on her. That'll happen occasionally as people kind of move around. So if it seemed like I was skipping, I kind of was. Let's see, we got a body here. We're gonna loot everything and then we're gonna head in.
Something good here, I hope.
Actually, we're gonna loot everything. There's one thing we're gonna go. We'll head in a minute. On the next one, basically. There's one other thing we're gonna pick up. Then we're gonna rest, respec, and kind of wrap up for this session. And on the next one, it will be Druid Grove time. But have no fear. They will all be standing there waiting as if we had not come in yet. But there is something kind of over here, which another thing I kind of just found randomly is running around. I noticed this ledge. I was like, hey, there's these little markings, which generally means that you can climb up something. So I was like, I wonder why that's there. Oh, you can jump up here and then climb up. And I was like, oh, let me explore. And sometimes, to be fair, Larian builds like whole little areas that don't necessarily have anything, but they're just kind of showing off and they're amazing environments. But in this case, there was something. It's a little platform, and we got this guy.
Necklace has a Harper sigil.
It's a Harper, and possibly he's the one who left that other rock down there. Remember, there didn't used to be a giant nautiloid ship here? There's also this, which I'm actually going to swap to Astarion. And I'm going to give him these gloves that we picked up, which give him that lovely ability. Also going to give him the guidance necklace we just picked up. It's a really handy necklace that lets the wearer cast guidance.
At the back of the crevice lies a bag enfolded in the chitinous squabbling of spiders. A shiny gold coin pokes from its mouth.
Now this, not as strong, although he actually does have a little bit of nature that he can do things with. Made that roll. Great job.
The creatures clutch the pouch possessively. You have no doubt. A spider egg is nestled within.
The reason we picked Astarion is the sleight of hand. It's DC 15, but you can see he's got a pretty strong bonus to it. So we're going to try. We'll say a 29 is a success.
The spiders scatter, and you stash the bag. Something clinks among the coins.
So, kind of handy little thing you picked up. We can open it and you see it's got a spider egg. Which that spider egg we can eventually basically lob into a combat and bring about a spider to help us. Alright, but that is that. We are going to grab the last little couple things here. There's a chest up there. That occasionally has some really good stuff in it. And then I don't know why, but there's just some, just has a ring and some gold. I don't know why, but just mentally for me, I love the idea of resting up here. I feel like there's already a little fire going. Yeah, there's a dead guy, but it's just a great place to make camp. So we're gonna long rest here. So when you go to camp, you'll occasionally get these prompts that people want to talk to you. So we're gonna go talk. And you might have heard Withers saying, "Make haste, I want to speak with you."
A monster forms inside us, and you think to be idle. I did not expect you to prove quite so fragile. Be quick about your rest. We must locate a crash. A thick-headed notion in a complex circumstance. Do you suppose the parasites inside us dare to rest? That the Geich do not still pursue us with each peal of the bell? Take your rest. I will stand watch. Should a single tentacle split your skull, I will not hesitate to end you.
One of the things I find very cool is like you could see Lae'zel is covered in blood because she's in melee combat a lot. So blood spurts on her.
What were you two talking about? I see. I'd be careful with Lae'zel. So am I. If we're to survive, we need to trust each other. You seem reliable. I think you know how important it is that we find someone who can cure us. Best if we focus on that. Good. We might even get lucky and find one right away. As I see it, we're overdue some good fortune. Rest well.
So, there are romances in the game. All of your companions are romanceable, the main 6, and then a couple of the other ones. Not personally going to target either Lae'zel or Shadowheart. Kind of want to do a Karlach romance. Haven't done one yet. So that's what we'll be going for.
We meet again, as predicted. I shall be here in thy camp for whenever thou hast need of my services. A mending of the threads between life and death. Should thou or any of thy compatriots perish, I will cleave soul to body once more. Indeed. Farewell.
Okay, so real quick, we are going to respec Shadowheart. She's going to be going into War Cleric initially, and then eventually into Paladin. With the goal that by level 8, she'll be a level 3 War Cleric, level 5 Paladin.
Ah, another. Thy name has been recorded. I shall be here in thy camp for whenever thou hast need of my services. As thou desire.
Now that is going to affect her being able to access feats as quickly. Because she won't get her first feat basically until like level 7. But it's fine. She'll be okay. We'll make do. One of the things we are going to do is switch her to a light cantrip. Especially come Act 2, light is very, very important. And then, like I said, we're going to be switching her into War Priest, War Domain, and we're going to actually be kind of rearranging a lot of her stats. We don't want to buy that down too much, but like, nice even 10. But we want to get her strength up is the biggest thing. So we're going to kind of be willing to give up a little bit of dexterity. Because again, she's going to be, for the most part, in melee combat. So we're going to go a higher strength, we're going to go con, we're going to keep her wisdom decent, because we do want her spells to still be pretty effective.
What's next?
We're going to keep leveling up. So one of the reasons we like War Priest is it gives this action that she can get plus into attack, and she can get some extra secondary attacks even at a lower level. We're going to keep her spells like this, although we may potentially add Bless at some point. So her spells known. And then we're going to switch to Aid there. Aid is very strong. So you can see she's now level 3 War Priest. Her health kind of stays the same. We didn't really mess with her con too much. But we're actually going to see, because she's in medium armor, her AC went down just a little bit. Because she lost that little bit of dex bonus she was getting. But her strength went up, so her plus to attack went up. She'll do a little bit more damage. We're going to keep her with this spear for the moment. but most likely we'll be switching out with something else soon.
Interesting times.
But that is that. Alright, we're gonna rest, and we will pick up again in the morning. Oh, while I'm at it, let me,
always shop.
real quick, now she's gonna need this eventually. We're gonna rearrange her stuff real quick, now that we've kind of finalized her initial build. I always kind of move our 8 over there to make sure I don't forget about it, and then we're gonna put some more cantrips over there. Let's see, what do we got? Kind of group heals and defensive. This is turn undead. We're gonna put that over there. That's a cantrip. More aggressive spells will kind of pile here. Then these are level 2 spells. So this is pretty strong. Our weapon attacks can deal radiant damage. It's a concentration. It's always prepared. So, and it's a bonus action. So we could use it at the start of a combat, and then it'll just stay until we take a hit that breaks it.
Never a dull moment.
Pretty solid spell, Divine Favor. Probably one that we'll use quite a bit. But anyway, we are off to bed. We will pick this up again on the next run. I actually have to go run a couple errands, so I am going to save after this, and we will come back to it. So you can see we're rested. And we're going to actually pop back out. And just to be efficient, we're going to actually go ahead and I am going to use this on myself. So you can see now I've got 5 level 1 spell slots. And we're going to go and buff up a little bit, and then we'll save. So I've got that. For my buff for myself, we definitely want to put Astral Knowledge on me. The Wisdom. Shadowheart's gonna buff everybody with Aid. And we're actually gonna put the Astral Knowledge Wisdom on Lae'zel as well. Okay, so that is where we're gonna leave off. We're gonna save. Actually, we'll do one last thing. We're going to go ahead and teleport down here. We could climb down and jump down, etc., but it's actually faster to teleport. Alright, this is where we're going to pick up. So, save in the game. And we will see y'all next time. I'll probably do another recording here in just a little bit today. Other than that, you guys have a great one. Thank you so much.